I recorded the first song, the first reggae song in this room here, this very place here. And the engineer and the producer would like listen carefully to what you're saying. And then they would stop the tape and say, no, you can't say that. And I said, why? No, you can't say that. Because one, the record won't be played on the radio, and two, the government won't be happy, and it will get into trouble and all of that. I'm a person, I'm a human being. God did not create Africa, America, and this and this and this. God just created the world, and God created people in the world. And then people came and said, this is South Africa, America, that and that and that. That's just a continuation of separating people, So I am just a human being.
1, 2, 3, 4.
As a child, when I was very, very young, that I want to be a musician, and music is what I will do, for a living and like for the rest of my life. Well, the messages in my music come from, when I was a child, things that I have seen happening to me and happening to people within like the South African apartheid system. So one mission I had in life was to say, okay, if I do get a chance to be able to speak about these things and let people know about these things, because to us as a child growing up in Ermelo, which is Ermelo it's still got a lot of apartheid going on now. And to us, it was just life. It was just part of life. To us, that was what life is all about. And knowing, I remember the shops, they used to have one door for blacks and a little window there for black people. And if you made a mistake and got in that door, you'll get your ass kicked and all of that, And these are the things that I have experienced, and these are the things that I write my songs about now. And really my childhood is what makes my song. The experience I had as a child is what I sing about today. These two white boys wanted to know, they had two dogs, like these mean, heavy dogs. They had those dogs, and so they wanted to know which dog is like, wow, the heaviest, the one that can bite the best or whatever. And so there was nowhere else, where they could test these dogs, but they had to find a black man to do that on. And unfortunately, I was the black man at that time, just walking down the street. I was from school. And they stood there with the dogs, and as I came, they called me. Fine, I could not say no if the plane bus calls me. And I had to go to the plane bus, and they let these dogs loose on me. sometimes we become victims and of things that we didn't bring to ourselves. Some people make things, some people do things that eventually make us, some innocent people, victims of the situation. I was working as a gardener before I even started school for like white people in the white suburbs. And one day they called me from the garden, and they used to call me Fanyan because my name, Lucky, was English and they didn't like English. And the other name, my other name is Philip, and so they wouldn't call me Philip because it's an English thing. They didn't even, maybe, they couldn't even speak English maybe, so they called me Fanyan. And they called me Fanyan, yes boss, and I came up and there was like all of them, the mother, the father, and the 3 children, and they are 2 friends. And as I came up, I thought, there must be something wrong here. Why are they all here? Why are they all coming to me, you know? And they got to me and said they had a machine, some machine that I didn't understand, but it had 2 wires hanging, a red and a black. And they wanted me to hold the wires, those wires. And I held them, and there was this boy, this plane bus, started turning this thing, and it was producing like a 220 voltage thing, and it kicked the shit out of me. And that was his new toy that his father bought him. And so to know how it works and how much it can kick, they had to test it on a black man. And unfortunately at that time again, it was me. The black man around was me. But all of that was like life to us. That was what life was all about, because you couldn't do anything about it. You couldn't tell anybody about it. I was doing this tour in Australia, and there was a campaign by the human rights people out there. I'm a person, I'm a human being. God did not create Africa, America, and this and this and this. God just created the world, and God created people in the world. And then people came and said, this is South Africa, America, that and that and that. That's just a continuation of separating people, you know. So I am just a human being, you know. It's like people would ask me if I'm a Zulu or a Swazi or whatever. I'm not that. I'm not a Zulu, I'm not a Swazi. I'm a human being. God did not make Swazis, God did not make Xhosas or Zulus. God made people. At one time I got my family, when everybody was together, you know, everybody's back from work and school and all of that in the living room, I would get my guitar and make everybody pay. They would pay maybe 3 cents or 2 cents, and then I would be on the table. That's a concert, and that would be a stadium to me. And then they would pay me that, and I would play that. And I in my mind, yes, there was this thing that was saying, one day all of this will be real. It was basically the message really in the music that got me. Because all of the things that Peter Tosh and Bob sang about are things that I personally have experienced in life. Poverty, hunger, this and that, oppression and all of that. All of that, those are things that I have personally experienced. First time I got a guitar or a melodica was when I was doing, I think, standard 7. In Standerton. I stole my class teacher's guitar. He was also a musical person. So in the staff room, he had a guitar, one of these acoustic guitars and things like that. So I stole his guitar and I took it to the school library because I was a library assistant there, and so no one had the key to the library, but I had the key to the library. So I stole this guitar from his from the staff room and I hid it in the library. And so when everybody's gone, I would try and play it and play that guitar. And after having learned a little bit of that guitar, I went and I stole his melodica because it was like a choir master thing. And so I stole his melodica and I took it, I put it in my the library, and I started learning, just touching keys there, and all of that. And that was the first time I got near like a real instrument. But all the time I was just playing from tin homemade things. Reggae came after I think I had recorded about 6 Zulu albums, and I always heard reggae on the radio, right, from like Peter Tosh and them, but not so much on the radio because reggae at that time was not wanted by the South African government and of course by the people in South Africa, because if you were found like with a Bob Marley or a Peter Tosh tape, they would kick the shit out of you and the whole thing, break the tape or arrest you or whatever, you know. So we would only hear a little bit of it, like Jimmy Cliff and them. Jimmy Cliff, who was not as militant as Bob and Peter, so we would hear those. And I got very interested in reggae, but I could not do it at that time because the record company was also not interested in reggae acts and things like that. Producers and them were not interested in reggae. And so it was around about 1984 that I decided to record reggae, you know. But when doing my live shows with Mbaqanga music, I would throw in a little bit of my reggae stuff, and the people would like that. People would really like that, and eventually we decided, yeah, this is great. We must record this because people like it, and we recorded the first reggae album in 1984. It's places that we don't usually do when doing tours and shows and things like that, but it's people out there who like the music, who support the music and everything, but they just can't get to see you. And so with now Ace coming in, we go out there to do the Ace promos. At the same time, the people out there get to see this Lucky Dube person that they love so much, and you know, who doesn't go there for shows and things like that.
I think Lucky Dube is the best musician in the world.
The important thing here is to get the message across to people, and I find that people understand English, you know, more than any language, because you go to Japan, they speak English, you know, a little bit, but you know, you can communicate with them in English. And you go to France, they speak English, and everywhere it's English. So to get the message across to people, I decided to do it in English because everybody understands it.
Hey, Rastaman, hey, Rocky, you gotta come on together. But today I can say I am a prisoner.
It's gonna end up being, but okay, Japanese technology and all of that is good because they make things easier. Like my band is on the road all the time. What I'm saying is it's good that they are making things smaller and easier to carry around, But the programmings and things like that, I mean, you find that there's one guy on stage, he just plays one keyboard and there's like the drums and things, everything coming in, there's just one guy on stage. I mean, I think it's not right for the people, because people pay money to go see a band on stage. And I mean, I would also like to see like live and get some live things, you know. We don't have to like misuse this technology thing, but it's good that we grow musically. We get new stuff and all of that. And I remember like in the studios they used to have like these huge echo machines, you know, like the ones they had downstairs, like this huge, and those things you could not carry, you could not take those on tour. But now with the smaller things, you take those on tour, and people in this concert place get the same quality that they hear on the record. And it's great, but not to like get the machines to do some work for us. I'm reggae. I'm reggae. I mean, there's a song I wrote some years ago saying, you know, the bed that I sleep on is a reggae bed, and everything I do is reggae. So I mean, I'll always be reggae, even though, you know, I might do some other projects on the side. I mean, you know, just on the side, but not as my own project. But we grow musically, you know, and so but I'll always be doing reggae. It's in me, you know. I'll always be doing reggae. Maybe God planned it that way. God wanted it to be like that. And the people in South Africa, to start with, because the people in South Africa are the ones that started supporting my music and made it, you know, like built it. And they allowed me to be what I wanted to be, because sometimes you would want to be something and the people maybe might not allow you to be what you want to be, you know. Maybe, yeah, it's just that, God and the people, because I'm just there doing what I do, but how it happens, I don't know, because I don't write hit songs. I don't sit down and say, now I'm going to write like a hit song or something, but I just write songs as they come, and people make them hit songs, and that's all. I mean, God planned it that way, and the people.
Thank you.
Yes, man.